It got me thinking, though, like if Mr. Freeze ever did thaw Nora, like how hard do you think it would be for him to break the ice?
Come on, man.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Nerds You're Looking For podcast, a weekly nerd culture podcast that discusses nerddom through various segments. My name's Tyler Hunt, alongside my co-host, as always, Pat Kuhn. How's it going, dude?
Good. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm feeling a lot better than I did last episode. I couldn't really tell at the time. I mean, obviously, I was feeling worse as the episode went on, but I didn't realize how bad it was until I actually had to edit last week's episode. My voice was really bad towards the end of that episode. And because I'm a dummy, after the episode, as you know, Tyler, because you kind of hung out at my house a little bit longer after we were done recording, I went to a stand-up show.
Yeah.
And I did stand-up, which is probably like the worst thing that you could possibly do when your voice is going out. And surprise, surprise, I gave myself laryngitis.
Oh, shit.
So almost like this entire week, I've not been able to talk hardly at all. I've been basically doing my best Batman impression all week. It's, I don't have many talents, and so talking's really all I have. And so when I can't talk, it's like a piece of me is missing.
Yeah.
And so it's been kind of a weird, like I'll be sitting at work and one of my coworkers will say something stupid and I want to say something, but my doctor told me that I wasn't supposed to talk as much as I could. Like, so I couldn't make fun of that stupid thing that you said. And so it was a little disappointing, but, I think I started to kind of sound like myself again. Like on Thursday, we're recording this on Saturday. So it's been a couple of days. So hopefully I can get through this episode. I don't have any stand-up shows tonight. So, I should be good.
How'd your stand-up show go?
Other than the fact that I barely had a voice at that point, it went really, really well. It was a venue I'd never done before, and it was a couple of guys that I hadn't done stand-up with in a while. That's kind of why under normal circumstances, I probably would have just sat that one out. But, like I said, it was a venue that I'd never done before, and a couple of guys I hadn't seen in a little bit. So, that was fun. It was really good. I kind of went on a little bit later, and so the crowd had dispersed a little bit, but the crowd that was there was really great.
I think that it was PG, right?
Yes.
Here in Evansville, Indiana. That's a bit of a hipster bar, so maybe
for
you
sure.
found your audience. You
Yeah,
play to
for sure.
hipsters.
I mean, it was interesting. That's kind of my crowd. It's a little bit more liberal and more progressive, like unlike French Lick, the show that I had to do recently, where it was kind of the polar opposite of that. It was a breath of fresh air. I hadn't done a show in, I guess it was like a month since I did the French Lick show, so it was kind of good to get on stage again too.
Yeah, I mean, those types of liberal, young places are few and far between, unfortunately, where we live too. So it's nice to have that type of venue to rely on.
For sure.
Cool, man. You ready to get going?
Yeah, so if this is your first episode, we start off each episode by kind of just checking in with each other. We don't get to have these nerdy conversations as much as we'd like to, so we'd like to just kind of check in with each other, kind of right off the bat. We call it what we're into. So what are you into this week?
I went and saw La La Land this week. I wanted to see it for a while, but after it won some Golden Globes on Sunday, I decided I got to go see it. And I ended up going to see it Monday as soon as I got off work. And it was pretty crowded too, like a Monday afternoon, 4:30 showing.
Yeah, it's doing pretty well.
I guess, everybody who had watched the Golden Globes the night before or who had heard the buzz around it, it was pretty crowded for that time of day on that day of the week. But if you don't know what La La Land is about, which I did not know what La La Land was about because the trailers are very vague, and it's about a jazz pianist played by Ryan Gosling falling in love with an aspiring actress played by Emma Stone in Los Angeles, hence the LA and La La Land.
Yeah.
So, like I said, going into it, I didn't know that much about it. I figured that music was involved some way because of the trailers, and there was a love story between the two actors that I just mentioned. But besides that, didn't know anything because if you have seen the trailers, it's very vague. And I think that really added to the experience of seeing it. I'm not going to spoil it too much because you and I were talking before the podcast, and you mentioned you and your wife are going to see it tonight, so I don't want to give away like hardly any of the plot details so that you can be surprised like I was. But not knowing much about it going into it, I think added to it for sure. Like if I had seen some of the dance numbers or some of the musical numbers, I think it would have taken away from it. And I know that the big opening musical number was spoofed on the Golden Globes, and I didn't see that until after I had seen La La Land. So I'm once again, I'm just glad I went into it not knowing anything.
Sure.
The opening number is probably one of the best parts of the movie, in my opinion. It doesn't feature, well, it slightly features Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, but it's mostly about just some extras, and they're on a exit ramp to a highway, and it's pretty cool what they do with it. A lot of primary colors and some cool music. So that's one of the better musical numbers. There's plenty throughout the movie that are great. The love story between the two is pretty typical. Things kind of swerve a little bit at the end, but what makes this movie not typical was the way that it was shot. I forget the director's name, but he also made Whiplash, and this is like his second big movie. And
he wrote 10 Cloverfield Lane too.
Yeah, oh yeah, I did see that on his IMDb page. But you know, between Whiplash being his, like, he directed the short film that Whiplash was based on, but as far as like feature length motion pictures go, Whiplash and then La La Land, like, he's really off to a strong start. I will say that after I left this movie, I felt not necessarily bad, but like unsettled. I felt like the ending didn't sit well with me. And again, by no means will I get into the ending. But I was listening to Fat Man on Batman on the way over here to record, and Mark Bernardin was doing his top 10 of all time. And I hate to plug like another podcast on our podcast, but he was talking about La La Land, and he put something into perspective for me. I think the reason that I left the movie unsettled is because Ryan Gosling is kind of a dick in this movie.
Okay.
Which I didn't feel that way watching it, but the more I reflect on it, you don't, like, it's the next time I watch it, because I will watch it again. I really enjoyed it. I'll definitely be buying it when it comes out, but I feel like the next time I watch it, I won't be rooting for his character as much because he has kind of dickish tendencies. So I will kind of cut it off there. I don't want to get into too much more because, like I said, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it was a great musical. It's definitely a nice throwback to like the old MGM musicals. It's a pretty fun watch.
Cool, man. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I know my wife has wanted to see it for quite some time now. We're actually going to go see it last week. We wanted to kind of do a date night, so we were going to go out to eat. We were going to try a new burger place, and it's like super popular right now. It's brand new. And so it took us like 45 minutes to get a table, and then it took us almost that long just to get our food. And so by then, I looked at the clock, and I was like, we had given ourselves plenty of time. I was like, we have to eat and leave by 5 minutes to make this movie. So we just realized there was no way we were going to make this movie. So obviously, we haven't seen it yet. Like I said, we're going to go see it later tonight, and I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Awesome, man. So what are you into?
I am into a movie that also won, I think it only may have won one Golden Globe on Sunday, Manchester by the Sea. I know it was nominated for quite a few of them, but I think it may have only won one. Tyler and I went and saw this last night. I did not know anything about this movie, and maybe I should have looked, because given my recent personal issues, probably a little too heavy for me to go watch this right now. There's a couple of scenes that got me. If you don't know what this movie's about, basically it's about this brother who dies. He has this heart failure and he dies, and it's kind of expected. Like he had these problems for a while, and so it was something that they kind of knew was eventually going to happen. And then he has a son, and so his brother has to take care of his son. It's kind of their relationship, and just kind of him returning. Casey Affleck is the one of the brothers, and he has to return to this town, and there's some things in his past that come up. And again, I'm trying to be vague to not spoil anything. You find out why he moved away and why he doesn't. He's so against coming back and moving back to Manchester, and it's super, super depressing. There's quite a few movies. The first movie that kind of comes to my mind when I think of movies like this is 12 Years a Slave, where everything about the movie as far as the writing, the directing, cinematography, the acting, everything makes it a great movie. I don't know if I necessarily say that Manchester by the Sea is a great movie. I'd probably slot it into like a good movie because I did have a couple of problems with it, and I'll get into that here in a second. But there's movies like that where everything's great, and I wanted to watch it because being a movie buff, it was nominated for all these awards, just like Manchester by the Sea was. And so you kind of want, as a movie buff, to see it, but I never want to watch that movie again. And Manchester by the Sea is a movie that I will never watch again. I enjoyed it. Like I said, it's a good movie. There's a lot of things about this that are great, like as far as the acting, the writing, the directing. I will say that it does meander a little bit. I think that there was some things some character development things that didn't necessarily need to be in there. So it made it a little bit longer than it needed to be. And also the cut scenes. Basically the way the movie is formatted is you get to see Casey Affleck, his character, in the present. And he's just kind of doing his thing. And then he finds out about his brother. And it kind of goes back and forth between the present, what's happening right now, and the past. And kind of that's how they tell you what happened in little pieces. So they do a good job of kind of keeping it a mystery why he left and all that stuff that happened to him. But it's also kind of jarring because they don't really, in movies that do this particular format, a lot of times there's like a little indicator that you can tell that it's in the past, and this movie doesn't really do that. So there was a couple of cut scenes that I wasn't quite sure what we were looking at until you saw maybe like the brother in it, and so you knew that the brother is dead now, so you kind of got the idea that it was in the past. So those are really the only two problems I had with the movie. I will say that if you're movie buffs like us and want to go see all these award season darlings, I definitely suggest it. It is a good movie. But it's super, super, super depressing. Like, there's a lot of threads in this movie, and all of the threads are just like, one is worse than the other. Like, you think, oh, the dead brother, like, that's the worst part. That's not even close to the worst part of this movie. It's super, super depressing.
What strikes me about this movie and what's weird is it almost, if it were formatted differently, it would be like a romantic comedy in a way. If the story was a little different.
More like a bromance.
So follow me here. He's moves away because of something that happened in his past, and he's drugged back to his hometown to take care of his nephew, and he meets up with his ex-girlfriend or ex-wife in this case, and they rekindle a romance, and everybody lives happy.
They don't really rekindle.
No, I'm saying like if little plot points have been changed, this could be like a romantic comedy. Obviously it's not. It's very fucking depressing and very real. And I mean, I did enjoy it. Like you said, also, like you said, I don't think I'll ever watch it again because of how sad it is. Casey Affleck was amazing in it. I definitely agree there. Part of what I kind of related to in this movie was it seems like almost how he is in social interactions is kind of how I am sometimes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I kind of related to him on that regard, like not being able to have small talk and this and that, like that stuff.
You're totes awkward.
Yeah, that's stuff that I definitely can relate to. So I did kind of enjoy that aspect of his personality in a way. But again, just a lot of the depressing shit that happens in this movie is enough to just see once, and it's not something you sit down and watch to escape, so.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It definitely, you said it meandered. It was way too long. It was like 2 hours and 17 minutes of just depression. So just a bit much for me.
I just think that the stuff with the kid, some of the like the side stuff that he does, like the band, like that's not necessary. You could still have his relationship with the girl and not have the band, and it still be fine. And I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to build that base. Like he has to have a reason to want to stay. And he has all of these, and he lays it out at a particular point when they're having an argument. Like he's like, I have the hockey team, I have the basketball team, I have the band. Like he lays all of his reasons why he wants to stay in Manchester. But you don't need that. You can still actually even say that line, and we don't actually have to see the band.
For sure.
So those are a couple of scenes that I think that they could have cut out. But for the most part, it was a really, really good movie that I will never fucking watch again.
I mean, I will say, like, the scenes with the band, it did bring, like, it's not like really funny scenes or anything, but it brought a little levity in those scenes to like a very depressing story. Yeah. So like I did appreciate those breaks from just getting beat over the head with depression.
Yeah.
But, I see what you're saying as well. If you're going to have to cut something out, like that's the stuff you would
I think
cut.
his relationship, those two together, the two main guys, I thought their kind of back and forth was almost like a break. Because, I mean, it did. I mean, obviously they have some serious conversations here and there in the movie, and it does get heavy, but just them going back and forth and kind of arguing, I thought was kind of cute.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, so the next segment, just moving right along, is called Comics. Tyler and I read a ton of comics each week. We like to spotlight one or two. So what'd you read this week?
So I'm going to talk about a comic that I've actually talked about on the podcast probably 2 or 3 times, and I felt that I just needed to bring it up again because one arc has ended and another arc is beginning. So I just wanted to kind of sum things up from where I started with it a couple months ago. But what I'm talking about is All-Star Batman. Again, we've talked about it a few times. Written by Scott Snyder. The first arc was written by John Romita Jr. The second arc, was drawn by John Romita Jr. The second arc is being drawn by a guy named Jock, and I don't know what his first name is. And anything I could find just said Jock on it. So it was apparently Scott Snyder and him had done the Black Mirror together, which was what he wrote on Batman before the New 52 and his Greg Capullo stuff. So it's kind of like a reunion with those two. But anyways, I'm going to talk about issues 5 and 6. Issue 5 was the sum up of My Own Worst Enemy, which was the Two-Face storyline that we've talked about. And then issue 6 starts a new arc that involves Mr. Freeze. So just to kind of sum up My Own Worst Enemy, again, the Two-Face one. You can go back, like I said, on multiple episodes of the podcast and hear me talk about how much I loved it, how cool this comic was. And just there was so much suspenseful stuff going on through this arc that I was very much looking forward to this issue, where we would get a lot of answers to a lot of things that had been left open, and we would get a wrap up. And unfortunately, issue 5 was a bit lackluster, in my opinion. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it starts off with this awesome set piece involving a runaway steamboat casino, as absurd as that sounds, headed classically for like a waterfall. So there's some suspense there, but after that whole situation's resolved, it really slows down a little bit and gets more about character. And we finally start to get answers as to why Alfred's done things that he's done, why Gordon's doing things he's doing back at Wayne Manor. And then, of course, this sum up with Duke, Batman, and Two-Face. And all the answers, I'm not going to get into specific whys, but I just didn't feel satisfied after things were explained. I would guess I was expecting something bigger, and it just kind of fizzles out. It's still a great arc, but I thought that this would be more of an event comic, and it wraps up almost too nicely with, not major implications on the Batman universe when it's all said and done. And I know this isn't the main Batman story, or main Batman comic right now, so maybe that's why. But like I said, it wraps up almost too nicely. John Romita Jr. has been great throughout this arc, but at the end of this particular issue, he kind of loses me a little bit. His pencils are a little bit harder to follow when the story slows down, which is weird to say because you would think it'd be the opposite, but he seems to do really good with the action pieces. And then whenever it's more about just the storytelling, his art gets a little off. So it was a little lackluster, but of course I do still recommend that arc. The next issue, just really quick, is issue 6, which starts an arc called Ends of the Earth Part 1. Again, it's a Mr. Freeze story, so that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. Just keep moving along. It didn't work. Just keep going.
It kind of worked. It starts like a standard Mr. Freeze story. Batman's travels to the Arctic because Mr. Freeze is wanting to usher in a new ice age by releasing a virus that kills everyone. He wants to save Nora, etc., like standard Mr. Freeze stuff. It got me thinking, though, like if Mr. Freeze ever did thaw Nora, like how hard do you think it would be for him to break the ice?
Come on, man.
But, Batman shows up and he's like, come on, chill, bro.
Just stop. Just stop, man.
Back just in all seriousness, like this story doesn't necessarily, break new ground for Batman, by the way, but what is new that I've never seen done before is the way that it's presented to us. This comic, and I think it's probably Jock's, drawing style, it almost feels like a horror story. His artistry is just amazing. I'm going to go back and read the Black Mirror because it's really good. You're watching me waiting for a pun. But But it's a pretty awesome way that he draws it all, and he kind of makes Batman a monster towards the end, which is really cool. What else is really cool about this is there's no bubbles. There's no speech bubbles in this comic. It's just like narration you would read in a novel.
Sure.
Which is it's like all third person, and I've never seen Scott Snyder write like that before. So the way that this comic's presented is really cool, but I'm curious to see what happens with it because, again, it doesn't break new ground. But yeah, I think that this arc is not going to be just a Mr. Freeze story. It's going to have other villains tied into it. I believe I heard rumblings of like Poison Ivy and Mad Hatter. So I'm kind of curious to see where it goes, but it's a cool comic for sure.
Yeah, from what I understand, like he wanted to use a lot of the villains that he didn't get to play with in the main Batman story that he wrote with Greg Capullo. So it just seems like he's almost just like going down the list. I was like, well, I haven't really got to do a Two-Face one, so I'm going to do Two-Face and then Mr. Freeze and then, like you said, like Poison Ivy and Mad Hatter and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know. I really liked the first Batman annual that came out a few years ago where they redid Mr. Freeze's origin story.
Yeah.
Apparently a lot of fans did not, though, because they're so tied to like the Heart of Ice stuff and
sure.
It being like him being such a flawed character and a good person deep down that's just trying to save his wife. And this story doesn't really touch on which one it's following, but it seems to lean more towards the Heart of Ice stuff where it's back to Nora is actually his wife. And, they've kind of erased that stuff that happened in that first annual, which is a little disappointing because I thought it was cool, but I guess it's just fan service because most people didn't feel that way.
Cool, man.
What'd you read this week?
I read The Unworthy Thor. Tyler, you have talked a lot about the Mighty Thor, which for those that don't know, Thor during Original Sin, which happened like 2 years ago, I think it was, he dropped his hammer on the moon, I think it was, and Jane Foster picked it up, and now she's the new Mighty Thor. But Thor, Odin's son, is still kind of wandering the galaxy. Apparently he drinks a lot in this comic book, which is kind of interesting. And so this is his story. The Unworthy Thor is his story. And basically it's this mysterious creature, we don't really know who he is, has told Thor that they're, for those that have watched Planet Hulk, or no, not Planet Hulk, that comes later, has read Secret Wars, you know that there's a ton of different Thors. And so apparently this creature has told Thor that another Thor has died and he has dropped his hammer and it's returned to Asgard. And so Thor leaves wherever he is. They don't really explain where he is. And he goes back to Asgard to get the other hammer so he can become Thor again. And it's gone. Asgard is gone. But Beta Ray Bill, which is from Planet Hulk, is he's there, which he's kind of a cool little character. I'm not a huge Thor fan, so I'm not too read up on his character, but he is kind of a cool character. And apparently the Collector, which is a character that I don't think it gets used very well. So I was definitely excited to see him make an appearance, and he's kind of the main bad guy in this particular, at least this arc. I don't know if he's going to be a recurring character in the book, but apparently he's stolen Asgard to get to the hammer, because the hammer is returned to Asgard. He can't pick up the hammer. He can't take it from Asgard, so he just decides he's going to take the entire realm, which is kind of interesting. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Thor. The movies are not great. He kind of reminds me of the Superman of the Marvel Universe. I know a lot of people will say that Captain America is kind of the Superman of the Marvel Universe, but I actually think it's Thor because he's an alien. He's essentially a god. He doesn't have laser beams that come out of his eyes, but he can control lightning and he can fly in his own way, and he's basically unstoppable. So I always kind of thought of him as the Superman of the Marvel Universe, and I don't really think that character is that interesting because the same reasons I don't think Superman's a very interesting character. So I've never really read a ton of Thor, but I kind of like this version of him because he is vulnerable. He is kind of distraught. He's lost his hammer. He doesn't think he's worthy, obviously, hence the title. And so I really enjoyed this story, and the visuals were really cool. The action pieces were just amazing. Like the book starts off issue 1. There's 3 issues. I don't know if I've mentioned that. there's 3 issues so far. And the first issue starts off with him fighting these trolls, which was really cool. And then, of course, like I said, the Collector, who's not a character that's used very well often. So it was kind of cool to see him used really well in this particular book. Beta Ray Bill's in there, which is a cool character, and Thanos actually makes an appearance as well. So I'm a big fan of Thanos. So I really liked this book. I didn't expect to. I just had heard some good things. I was looking for a new book to read, and I kind of stumbled on this one, and I'm really glad, and I'm definitely going to keep up with it because it's been really fun so far.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone on record a lot about how I enjoy the Mighty Thor, but at the same time, I had no interest in the Unworthy Thor because I'm kind of the same way with you are. I'm not a huge fan of the character, and Mighty Thor, there's more vulnerability there because of who it is under the helmet and this and that, whereas Thor Odinson's kind of a dick, and that's why he lost Mjolnir, if I'm saying that right.
I didn't even try because I knew I wasn't going to say it right.
But, there's one thing I wanted was another comic on the market that can go back to Secret Wars. So, no, that's sarcasm. Fucking awful. But, I'm not going to pick this up, even though I am enjoying the Mighty Thor. I think I'll just stick to that.
For sure. And I do that a lot too. It's like there's so many X-Men books. Well, there used to be so many X-Men books, and there's so many like different Avengers books. I always kind of had the theory like you're not going to be able to read them all, so just pick one. And so if there's more than one book, you just go ahead and pick one. And obviously you like the Mighty Thor, so that makes sense.
For sure, man.
All right, so let's go right into nerd news.
Awesome. So every week we talk about the big nerd headlines that have come out since the last time we spoke. I do have a few here. The first one I'm going to bring up just because I want your opinion on it.
Okay.
So IGN always does like their game of the year, their movies, top 10 movies or whatever. And they announced their game of the year this week, which was Overwatch.
Yep.
And I'm curious what your game of the year for 2016 would be.
Well, it's actually one of their nominees because I actually have been following the process. I really like IGN. I go there a couple of times a day, and I really thoroughly enjoy their articles. And I was kind of hoping that they would give it to Inside. I really like that game. I talked a lot about it on the podcast, and I did walkthrough videos, and it was really fun, simple, kind of dark, but just really, really fun to play. And it was a nominee for Game of the Year, and I was kind of hoping that it would win. But it's, like I said, it's digital only, and so I don't know if a ton of people knew about it. So it makes sense that they gave it to Overwatch, but I really can't give you an educated opinion because I've never played Overwatch. I've heard really good things. I know that you really like it. You do a lot of Twitch streaming with Overwatch, so I know that you really enjoy it. So I can't really tell you if it should have won over Overwatch, but I did really enjoy Inside. Yeah,
I mean, for me, it would be Overwatch because I think that's probably the game that came out in 2016 that I put the most time into.
Sure.
And, I mean, it is a lot of fun, but Inside is definitely on my list of things to download and play because of how highly you spoke of it.
Yeah,
I know that you played a lot of games last year, so I was curious what your favorite was. So
yeah, that was it. That definitely it. Mutants in Manhattan, just if you're curious, was the worst game I played in 2016.
So this next one, I got two things concerning casting. So Woody Harrelson was cast in the standalone Han Solo movie. It seems like he's going to be playing some kind of mentor to Han Solo. I'm sure he's some kind of criminal smuggler pirate. So
sure.
I don't know. For me, I think these movies work better with some lesser known actors. I don't know if it will take me out of it every time Woody Harrelson's on screen. Like, he's a great actor, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that you needed to add him for star power, you know?
I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily what they were trying to do, though. It seems like he's almost had his own, like, Matthew McConaughey had his reconnaissance or whatever you want to call it. And he seems to kind of have been following the same pattern. Like, he had Zombieland, which was really fun. He did a super, super depressing movie called The Messenger a while back that was really good. And obviously I'm really looking forward to him in War of the Planet of the Apes. So, he's kind of taken the similar path. Obviously they both did True Detective the first season together. And so I'm definitely excited to see him in it. I'm curious to see how big of a role it will be because I don't think that they'll give him a huge huge role, but I'm definitely curious to see what it will be.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I'm kind of curious to see how he dies because I mean, he's not in A New Hope, so he's
sure.
dead, right? Peter Dinklage is circling Avengers Infinity War, which, I mean, wouldn't be big news, by itself because you don't know what characters he's playing, so on and so forth. But, what is interesting to me about it is that, you know, he was in the X-Men universe, so he's kind of he's the first person kind of crossing over, if you don't count Chris Evans, but like the X-Men universe is technically still a thing until we hear otherwise. So him crossing over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe is maybe a sign of people being able to jump ship like that.
For sure. And I mean, the X-Men universe is kind of taking turn for the worse, and they're talking about rebooting it. But then they talked about, I don't know if you were going to mention this in their news, but they're still trying to work on that X-Men TV show, and that might connect to the movie. So who knows if it's going to be this rebooted thing that they're going to do, or if it's going to be connected to the current X-Men universe. They just need to get their shit together, man. Yeah,
I'm surprised that it's taking them this long. Like, you just sit down at this point and come up with a plan with a group of talented writers, I guess, and it doesn't seem like Fox is going that route. So
they just kind of need to go the Marvel route where they have a guy, and they need to pick their guy well, obviously. Yeah. DC didn't really pick their guy well with, I almost call him Zack Snyder, but they just, and David Goyer as well. They just need to pick a guy and that oversees the whole project, and obviously hire your individual directors for your individual movies, but somebody, a set of producers, and kind of have that one guy that oversees everything, and just so they have a plan of action. That's the thing that bothers me, is that they don't seem that they ever have a plan. They just play it by ear, movie by movie.
Yeah. I mean, Bryan Singer doesn't seem that invested in it. No. So like, you don't make him like, he's more miss than hit at this point anyways, and I think he's making 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and obviously he's not in the X-Men universe for the long haul, even though he has been in the past. But I agree, you got to find like that one person who can oversee everything. You know, DC failed with Zack Snyder and David Goyer, and they've kind of shifted to Jeff Johns. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out over the next couple years, but you know, just go the Marvel route, just copy Marvel, because what they're doing is perfect. So
for sure.
Next up concerns Arrested Development. Apparently season 5 will be happening soon. I guess all of the cast has agreed to it and agreed to like their rate of compensation. So at this point, I guess it's just probably logistics of getting it the filming done. But apparently it'll be starting soon for Netflix. Yeah,
I'm obviously excited. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. I really enjoy it. I enjoy rewatching it. Other than maybe the 4th season. The 4th season is what it is. I mean, they had to do what they had to do, but I hope that they kind of learn their lesson, and maybe they wait until they have all of them somewhat together, because it's just the green screen that, like, cutting it all together where they weren't actually together. And it's just, I know that TV shows do that sometimes, but in this particular show, having that great ensemble is what makes that show so good. And to not have them together, it just, the show definitely suffered. Now it's still a really good season, but I hope that they kind of learn their lesson.
For sure. I agree. I haven't seen season 4, so I don't agree that hard. But I didn't realize they had done the green screen stuff, and that's disappointing. So, all right, man. The last thing I want to do is just go over the Golden Globe Awards. So, in the past, we've like run down every nominee and the winner, and for every category. And this year, I think we'll just kind of keep it to the stuff that matters. No offense, other categories, or TV, because we're not going to do TV. But I figure we'll run through some of the bigger movie categories, because those always have a good foreshadowing of the Oscars. So anyways, if you don't have anything else to add to that, I'm just going to go ahead and
go for it.
Run them off. This is actually the first time that I've looked in detail at the list. So best motion picture drama was Moonlight.
Okay, I have not seen it. I don't really know what it's about. I'm hoping to see it before the Oscars, because, like you said, the Golden Globes is a pretty good foreshadowing of what the Oscars is going to be. So I'm assuming since it's won the Golden Globe, it's going to be at least nominated. We don't even know it's nominated right now.
Yeah, we don't know the nomination.
So I'm going to try to go see it. But like I said, I don't even know what it's about.
know what it's about just because on that podcast I was talking about Mark Bernard and talked about this movie, and it sounds super fucking depressing too. So,
okay, awesome.
But it beat out Hell or High Water and Manchester by the Sea and a couple other movies. Personally, I mean, I loved Hell or High Water.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
So I would have liked to see that one win. La La Land won Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. The only movie that it beat that I've seen is Deadpool. So,
yeah. That was a long shot. I mean, obviously we were rooting for Deadpool, but I mean, let's be honest, it was never gonna win.
I don't know. I really like La La Land. I don't know now that I've seen both that I would say I was rooting for Deadpool.
That's surprising. Obviously you talked highly of it and what you're into, but I didn't know you talked that highly of it.
Well, I mean, spoiler alert for next week, but I think La La Land will probably make my top 10 and Deadpool won't.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know.
I haven't made my list yet, but I think Deadpool will probably end up making it.
Yeah. I mean, it's still in rough draft form, but so far that's what it's looking like. So we'll see what happens by next week. Best performance by an actress in a motion picture drama. Not the only movie I've seen that was nominated was Arrival. Amy Adams. She lost to Isabelle Huppert for Elle. So,
which is the foreign film. So neither one of us has seen that.
No. Let's see. Best performance by an actor in a drama. Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea.
And I think that was the only one that they won.
It might be. But obviously, you know how highly we spoke of his performance. I think we both thought that was pretty warranted.
Yeah, he needs to cut his fucking hair, though. The man bun is not a good look.
Yeah, I was surprised. Like, he looks so clean cut in Manchester by the Sea. And obviously his character in that movie is going through a lot worse than what he's going through in whatever his life is. So
maybe it's for a role, though.
I hope so, man.
That is not a good look.
Best performance by an actress in a musical or comedy. Emma Stone for La La Land. Again, I don't have much thought about the other movies, so I can't really speak to them. Best performance by an actor, musical or comedy. Ryan Gosling for La La Land. Ryan Reynolds was, of course, nominated for Deadpool. Jonah Hill was nominated for War Dogs, which I thought was...
Really?
Yeah, isn't that kind of weird? That movie wasn't that great.
No, it wasn't.
Hugh Grant was nominated for Florence Foster Jenkins. I didn't see that. And Colin Farrell for The Lobster, which was really fucking weird. Did you ever see The Lobster?
No, but my Amazon Fire keeps suggesting it.
Go for it, man. It is a trip.
I know what it's about, and I know that it's very strange concept.
Yeah, for sure. Believe it or not, it gets weirder as the movie goes on. Let's see. Best performance by an actress, supporting role, any motion picture. Viola Davis won for Fences. Let's see. Michelle Williams was nominated for Manchester by the Sea.
Which I'm surprised by now that I've seen the movie.
She's not really in it.
No, I mean, she's good in it, but she's really, really not in that movie. It's 2 hours and 17 minutes, whatever you said. And she might be in it for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely more of a cameo in my opinion.
Like, I mean, the last scene between them is probably what got her nominated because that was a really powerful scene. But other than that, she's really not in it.
No, I agree. Let's see. Best performance by an actor, supporting role. Aaron Taylor Johnson won for Nocturnal Animals.
I have not seen that movie, but he is a fucking terrible actor.
He's a weirdo, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Jeff Bridges was nominated. Of course, I would have liked to see him win. It looks like, I didn't realize this, Simon Helberg was nominated for Florence Foster Jenkins. I guess he's one of the tools off of Big Bang Theory. That's disappointing.
Yes, he is.
That's disappointing. Best director, Damien Chazelle for La La Land, which, I mean, once you see it tonight, you'll kind of see that was pretty warranted. He did amazing work in that movie.
I mean, they just cleaned up too. And I kind of felt bad because like I said, I haven't seen the movie, and it was just like award after award after award, and it was just like I can't really discuss. I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm uneducated because I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, it's funny because you go from best director to best screenplay, and they have the pictures of the people that were nominated, and it's the same row of pictures of people for director and screenplay, except for one guy. Mel Gibson was nominated for best director, but he didn't write Hacksaw Ridge, so Taylor Sheridan was nominated for Hell or High Water. But like the same people, and Damien Chazelle won that too. Yeah. So
they're going to clean up with the Oscars.
Yeah,
as well.
It sounds like it, and because and it's one of those rare Oscar movies that seems to be universally loved. Like everybody is really watching it and digging it, and it's not only doing well critically but well at the box office now. So,
which is very, very rare for the Oscars.
Yeah, for sure. Best motion picture animated, Zootopia beat out Moana, My Life as a Zucchini. Sing and Kubo and the Two Strings. I think I probably know which one you were rooting for.
I honestly, I was happy that Zootopia won because it came out so early in the year that I was afraid people were going to forget about how good it was. I was rooting for Kubo though. That was a really fun movie, and I liked the way. I mean, I like that studio, and I like the way that they make movies. So I was definitely rooting for it. I'm glad that Sing didn't win because that does not look good to me. I have not seen it, but it just doesn't look interesting at all. Moana was good. I did enjoy that. I think you talked about it as well, and I think you actually liked it a little bit more than I did.
Yeah, I would have been happy with either of the two.
I'm surprised.
Winning.
I am surprised. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I'm surprised that Finding Dory didn't at least get nominated.
Yeah, that's a bit surprising. I forgot about that movie.
I would be surprised if they didn't get the nod for the Oscars. They won't win because, I mean, I think they've only been doing the animated since like 2001. But I want to say that the only movie that's ever won as a sequel was Toy Story 3.
I'd have to.
So I mean that's they've been doing it for 15 years and only one movie that's a sequel has won it. So I doubt that they're going to give it to them, but I'd be really surprised if it didn't at least get nominated.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I'm going to skip motion picture foreign language because come on.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with it.
L1, we talked about that a little bit before.
So best score was of course La La Land, Justin Hurwitz.
That's not a big surprise.
Best original song, this isn't a big category, and this will be the last category we talked about, but I just wanted to put it out there. La La Land won, and there's a lot of original music in there, but I was disappointed that How Far I'll Go from Moana didn't win. I really like that song a lot.
Yeah. I forgot how much I liked that song until they did the little intro, and they started playing it. I was like, oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, apparently what else was nominated? Can't Stop This Feeling on Trolls. I didn't realize that was considered an original song for that movie. Faith, which was in Sing, and then Gold, which was in Gold. Yep. So, I mean, you'll see La La Land tonight, and I'll be curious to hear your opinion on it, but personally, musical-wise, original song, I would have gone with Moana. But
okay, cool.
That's where we will tie things off on the Golden Globe winners. So,
cool.
Again, we'll talk about Oscar winners when that time comes at the end of February, early March.
For sure. So, are we done with nerd news?
That is it for nerd news.
I'm surprised that you didn't want to talk about Nintendo Switch. I've been really excited about that.
Oh, I just don't care.
Really?
Nerd news is just what I care about.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think about it. What was the news? It's just coming out.
I mean,
in March.
they kind of had its like official release date and
it's like
official,
a month, right?
Yeah, it's March 3rd.
Oh, that's a little longer than a month. But
well, yeah.
Did you? And you said you pre-ordered it?
Yeah, I pre-ordered it from Best Buy, which I'm a little bit nervous about because they're kind of notorious for backing out. But I ordered it fairly early in the day, so hopefully if they do back out some of the pre-orders, it won't be the one that I ordered. But sorry if you ordered it later in the day, but you snooze, you lose. Yeah. I had previously pre-ordered Breath of the Wind, the new Zelda game for Wii U, so I canceled that. It's so weird because they had the release date for the Wii U one in like March 30th or something like that. But the one for Nintendo Switch, that's going to be a launch day title. So it's going to come out on the 3rd. So if I just cancel the Wii U one and get the Switch one, I get it like 27 days earlier. So that was a little bit weird.
Well, that's a way to sell consoles because people love Zelda.
For sure. And then, I mean, they have Mario Odyssey, which looks really cool. It's like Mario in the real world. So that looks kind of interesting.
You sure? It sure looks cool.
Well, I think it looks cool.
I can't really speak to it. I haven't seen it.
And then they have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which looks really fun. And I mean, the Switch looks awesome. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I will admit that my interest is peaked for the Switch. Like, I'm definitely interested, but I'm not going to pre-order anything. I want to wait and see for sure because I know like, the Wii U was highly spoke about and you've talked about it on the podcast before. You had this whole plan for it. Like you could play it on the tablet part whenever your wife's watching TV, yada, yada, yada. So I just kind of want to see how this works out with the tablet aspect of it and the handheld part. So we'll see.
I've seen some videos of it and that's the reason I'm so excited about the Switch. It looks exactly what I wanted the Wii U to be. Like, I mean, the way the docking and basically it's just a miniature tablet that you can play video games on. And it looks really, really cool, which is what I wanted the Wii U to be, the gamepad, and it just wasn't. And so it was basically just a Wii with this gamepad that only some games worked on. Yeah. So it was just, that was definitely disappointing. So I was not happy about the Wii U, and we barely ever played other than playing Super Smash Brothers. So I'm definitely looking forward to the Switch because it looks like it's exactly what I wanted the Wii U to be.
Cool, man. So I'll just play yours and decide if I want one then.
Sounds good.
Cool.
All right. So our next segment is just kind of the main topic. It changes from episode to episode. This episode, we're going to talk about our 2017 Nerd Year's resolutions. The title is pretty self-explanatory, but if this is your first Nerd Year's resolution episode, I'll go ahead and kind of briefly describe what we consider Nerd Year's resolutions. Obviously, people make New Year's resolutions around this time, like work out more, drink less, whatever. We're nerds, so we like to make nerdy New Year's resolutions, and we're super clever with our titles. So instead of New Year's resolutions, we went with Nerd Year's resolutions. So the first thing that we're actually going to do before we get into our 2017 resolutions is we're going to actually remind everybody what our 2016 resolutions were, and kind of talk about if we hit those goals, what happened, what, so on and so forth. So 2016, how'd you do? That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I did okay. I did decent with the movie aspect of it, and I'll just remind everybody what mine were. So I wanted to watch 225 movies, 92 of them being first time. I wanted to close some movie gaps. I had only watched, I was using the IMDb top 250 as standard for that. And I wanted to watch The Wire, be better with my comic book reading, and be more involved with nerddom by watching Harry Potter last year. So I did not hit 225 movies watched last year. I hit 192, so I did fall short there. But I wanted to watch 92 first time, and I watched 98 first time.
Okay, cool.
So I did beat that. I did close the gap a little bit. I've watched 13 new movies off the top 250, so not necessarily as much as I was hoping, but
sure.
I'm going to count it because I did not do the rest.
It's a win.
Because I did not do the rest. I did not watch The Wire, even though I really wanted to. I'm not better with comics. I got slightly better in the summer, and then, now I'm super far behind just because of the holidays, so I can't count that. And then I did not watch Harry Potter, which was probably the easiest fucking thing on my list to do.
They're really not that bad, man.
I know. I will watch them this year. It's not on my Nerd Year resolution to watch them this year, but I will watch them this year, I'm sure.
And it's even more embarrassing for you because not only did I watch all of them, but I also listened to almost all of the books. And I wasn't even trying to do that. It just like an impromptu sort of thing that I did one day.
Can I just count your watching them for me?
No, you cannot.
All right, man. What were your 2016?
My 2016 Nerd Year's resolutions was I wanted to watch 180 movies, which not obviously as lofty as Tyler, and I wanted a majority of those to be first-time viewings. I did not even hit 180, which I'm a little bit embarrassed about. I had 151 viewings, but 87 of them were first-time viewings. So that's 58%. I'm happy with that. What I'm really happy about, and this had anything to do with the resolution, but 50 of those viewings were in the theater, which is 33%, which I'm very, very happy with. Now, of course, I had the movie pass for about half of a year, so that certainly helped. But that is probably my highest total maybe ever. I do watch a lot of movies in theaters, but I'm usually around about 30. And so to hit 50 is a lot for me. The next one is I wanted to give a Doctor Who a legit shot. I feel like I did that. I watched the first 3 seasons. It's good. It's fine. It's whatever. I just didn't like it. Like, I can understand why people liked it, but I just don't like it, which is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. A nerd culture, like we've talked about many, many times before, is this huge, expansive thing, and that's fantastic. And so there's going to be things that I like that Tyler doesn't like and that you might like that I don't like. So, I mean, that's just how things work. So I watched the first 3 seasons. That's kind of why I said in last year's episode that I wasn't going to watch the whole 9 seasons that they had on Netflix at the time. Now it's on Amazon Video. Now they took it off Netflix, which is super weird. But, I didn't want to say that I was going to watch the whole 9 seasons because I was afraid that this was going to happen, where I was going to watch the first couple of seasons, not really like it, and it kind of feel like homework. So I gave it a legit shot. Just wasn't for me. So I'm going to count that as a win, even though I didn't watch the whole run of the 9 seasons. Comic books, I wanted to, at one point, get completely caught up with the comic books. Never even came close to that. I think I'm actually in worse shape than I was this time last year. As Tyler can see, I have a bunch of stacks of comic books that are just piling up. I will say that on kind of a side note, I was really far behind on TMNT. And so I did get caught up on that, which I'm very happy about because I love TMNT, and I was kind of bummed out that I had gotten that far behind, but I've talked about that before on a past episode, so I won't get back into that. But I am happy, even though I didn't hit my Nerd Year's resolution, but that's probably the most unrealistic one, just how much I read. It was probably going to be the one that I didn't hit. So I did get caught up on TMNT, but I didn't even come close with the actual overall goal. And then the last one that I had was I wanted to get back in Pokemon. I've talked about in past episodes that I was really into Pokemon Red when it first came out. I played the shit out of that game, and then the anime started coming out and the cards started coming out. Really didn't get into that, and so I just kind of fell away from the franchise for decades. And then I just finally got into it this past year. I got into Pokemon Go, and I was just gonna kind of count that as my resolution because I really got into that game. I feel like I'm one of the only players that still play it as hard as I do. But then Pokemon Go kind of got me back into the franchise, and then Sun came out, and I got that, and I've been playing that a lot. And then I actually got Alpha Sapphire for Christmas, so when I'm done with Sun, I'll start playing that. So I'm definitely into Pokemon again. So that's probably the one that I'm most proud of, is that it wasn't because of the resolution. It was just because I started playing Pokemon Go and I really enjoyed it, and it just got me back into it. And I should have never left because I really enjoy those games quite a lot.
Awesome, man. Sounds like you did pretty well.
Yeah, the movie thing was a little bit disappointing, and then of course the comic books. But like I said, that one was pretty lofty. So yeah, overall, I think this is probably the best year that I've had, even though I did have a few that I didn't quite get to. But yeah, I'm fairly happy with it.
Awesome, dude. So you ready to get into what we went to achieve in 2017?
Absolutely.
All right. So how do you want to do this? You want me to just start and then we'll go back and forth?
How many do you have?
6.
Okay, so I also have I have 6. I can kind of group a couple of them together.
Glad you could count that high.
That did take me a little bit longer than it should have. But so yeah, you just want to go ahead and start, and then we'll just kind of bounce back and forth.
All right, cool. So I'm going to I'm grouping 3 of them together. I still have 6, but there's a few different TV shows I want to watch.
Okay.
In 2017. One of them I'm 100% sure I'm going to be able to do because I'm already like halfway done. But
that's kind of cheating.
No, because I started it in 2017. I'll be honest, I put this list together like January 2nd because I knew we'd be doing this episode. So The Office, I mentioned it last week that I had been watching it and I'm still going through it, but I've not seen seasons 8 and 9 or what
season 9 was Andy. The Andy season.
So I haven't seen season 7, 8 or 9. I have not seen any of the season where Michael leaves. So I've only seen the first 6 seasons. I'm about halfway through the 6th season now, so I'm almost into uncharted territory. I will say that, wanting to watch this show from start to finish, I'm enjoying. Like, I loved it the first time I watched it in college, but I'm finding more enjoyment in it now because I think it's because I work in a workplace. Like, as a college student, I didn't work in an office or anything, and I don't necessarily work in an office now, but there's kind of like that dynamic of coworkers and stuff. Sure. So, I'm definitely finding more humor in it, and I've been relating who certain coworkers are to certain office
I think everybody
characters.
does that. Yeah, for sure.
And, it's just a lot of fun, there. So I'm really enjoying that. And then I'm really excited to get into the episodes I haven't seen. I also want to watch Seinfeld. Or Seinfeld, sorry.
I was like, I don't know why you said it so weird.
Yeah, Seinfeld, because I've never seen it all the way through, and I'm
actually rewatching it right now.
This is the one that I'm most nervous about because it's like 9 seasons of 20 episode seasons. So
no,
is it not? How many episodes is it?
The first season's only like 6 or 8.
Oh, okay.
And then the second season's like 10 or 13, something
Really?
like that. They eventually go up to 20, but it doesn't happen until like the fourth season.
I went through Hulu just looking at the seasons, and I must have saw something wrong. But yeah, I want to watch it because, again, I've never watched it. And it was on your top 10 of all time, and I know how much you love it. And I just feel like that's a piece of pop culture that I haven't gotten. So I do want to go back and watch it. I'm a little nervous about it, but I do want to put it out there.
It's a little dated because I'm rewatching it, like I said, and there's some scenes where I'm just like, if you guys just had a cell phone, this episode would not even exist.
Yeah, but I feel like since I lived through that time, I can relate to like the same thing with Friends in a way. Like,
Friends is definitely dated as well.
And then the other show, just kind of to wrap those into one nerdier resolution, is something that was on my actually, you know what? I'm going to switch it the last minute. I was going to say I want to watch The Wire, but you know what show I really actually want to watch before The Wire is Black Mirror.
Okay.
So I'm going to say Black Mirror. So that's my first nerdy resolution is Seinfeld, Office, Black Mirror.
Okay. So the podcast, obviously, we talk about movies, TV, comics, and video games. And so this year when I was making this list, I wanted to not only be more defined with my goals, but I also wanted at least like one or two per medium that we talk about.
Yep.
So I'll start with the films. I'm going to kind of use 180 as kind of my standard. So I want to get 180 films, which obviously I didn't hit last year. So I definitely want to make up for that. And just kind of a side thing that I want to do as well is I talked about 50 being a big number for me as far as theater viewings. I would like to average one theater viewing a week. So obviously there's 52.14 weeks in a year. So I'll just kind of go ahead and round that up to 53. So I want to have at the end of the year 53 theater viewings. By that I mean, like, obviously I don't want to see one a week, but I want to average one a week. So like this week I'm planning on, we saw Manchester by the Sea last night. And like I said, I'm planning on seeing La La Land tonight.
You're already ahead of the curve, dude.
Well, I didn't see one last week. So that's what I mean. Like, I just want to average one a week. So, 180, which is kind of the standard, for me. And then, 53, theater viewings, which would be my new record. Cause I believe, 50 is the highest number I've ever gotten since I've kept track of it. So,
you know how many theater viewings I had last year?
Is it going to make me throw up?
Maybe 72.
That is ridiculous.
I had Movie Pass all through 2016, and I did recently cancel it due to their reconstructing of their policy and being little bitches.
Pretty much.
But I saw 70. So I don't know. I don't think I'll ever beat that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I'm not trying to make you feel bad either.
No, well, the thing is, like, the 50 was mostly because of the Movie Pass, but I've canceled it. So 53 is a big deal when you don't have Movie Pass.
Yeah,
so,
dude, that's like $530.
Yeah,
if it's $10 a ticket.
Yeah, but I mean, I have my membership stuff that I get free movies every once in a while. So, but that's not neither here nor there. Yeah. But that's my first movie nerd year's resolution.
Cool. So. My next one is going to be comic related. Actually, I have a couple that are comic related for this year, but I want to read V for Vendetta and Watchmen.
Okay.
I've not read either. I've owned Watchmen and just never sat down and read it. And then
really?
I got V for Vendetta, the trade paperback for Christmas. And those are just two classic comics that I feel like I need to read as a comic fan. And I just have never gotten around to it. So I think that'd be pretty doable, and I'd like to do that this year.
Cool, man. I actually have one for comics, and I'll just go ahead and talk about it because it's kind of related. So it's very similar. I have Why the Last Man, the first book. I've had it for a long time. I read it a couple of years ago when I first got it, and I've just not gotten the rest of them. And I got the second and third book for Christmas, and so I would like. There's only 5 books, so it's not like a super ambitious nerd year's resolution. But I would like to. I'm going to reread book 1 because it's been a couple of years, and then I want to finish that collection and read all of Why the Last Man, which is again not a super ambitious nerd year's resolution because it probably won't honestly take me very long, but with everything else that I read, throwing this, it will be a bit of a challenge, but, I really enjoyed book 1 and I've heard it's really, really good, like throughout the series. And I know that they're developing a TV show currently. So I'd like to at least get it all done before that TV show comes out.
Perfect. I lied. I did put Harry Potter on my list again.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I do plan. I have like the Blu-ray set on my wish list on Amazon, and I'll pull the trigger on that pretty soon. It's only like 67 $.
Oh, really? I thought it was. I might have gotten it on sale when I bought it.
Really?
It was only like 45 when I bought it.
That sounds awesome. I would pull the trigger on that, no problem. But I do want to watch them. It's one of those things that there's a gap there, and I don't know that I'll enjoy them, and I don't know that I'll see what everybody else sees, but I don't feel like I can have an honest opinion on it and crap on it as much as I do without having actually seen all of it.
For sure.
I've only seen bits and pieces. I've seen Order of the Phoenix, so on and so forth. So I do need to just sit down and watch all those movies.
Cool, man. The next one that I want to talk about is kind of the one that I'm the most excited for. I mean, I'm excited for all of these because they're going to be fun in their own way, but this is the one that I was super, super excited for it. So, I've talked about this show, I think, on a past episode. I really like Documentary Now, a TV show. It's with Fred Armisen and Bill Hader.
Yeah.
And basically the concept is they take a well-known documentary, real-life documentary, and they basically just parody it. And they're really, really fucking hilarious. And I recently, I watched the whole first season, and I'm a couple episodes into the second season right now of Documentary Now, and I recently watched The Thin Blue Line, which is an episode that they had done. They had parodied that in the first season, and it was spot on. It was so good, and it made me enjoy that episode of Documentary Now even more since I saw the documentary, and I really like the documentary genre as a whole. I watched quite a few of them each year. And so I thought it would be kind of a fun project. My wife is actually going to do it with me. I'm going to watch each of the documentaries that they parody, and then I'm going to watch the episode and just kind of see how they do it and how they parody it. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, dude, that does sound fun.
So yeah, that's my Nerd Year's resolution, is to go through each one of those documentaries. Now there's one episode where I can't, because it was just like a series, like these little series of documentaries where they were just mocking that particular company, the videos that they put out. So I'm not going to go through their website and watch every little video. So I can't do that one. And luckily, it's actually the worst episode of season 1, in my opinion. So I'm not that upset that I'm not going to watch that one. I might just rewatch it just so I can see all of it, but I will not be watching that particular video because there's multiple of them. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Awesome. So my next one is a book I want to read, Ready Player One.
Oh, yeah.
Which the reason being, well, I've heard it's amazing, but also there's a movie coming out in 2018 directed by Steven Spielberg that is based on the book. So I'd like to
Can't wait, man. It's going to be awesome.
I'd like to read it before that comes out. So
good.
I already own it, ready to go. Just gotta to read it now. So
it's, you'll love it. It's really fucking good, man.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to this one. This actually might be the one that I'm most looking forward to, on my list. So
cool.
I'm looking forward to reading it.
All right. So the next one is my kind of my token video game one. It's a little bit of two. I'm going to kind of combine into one. I do a lot of Let's Plays on the YouTube channel, and I want to set a goal because I'm a little bit sporadic with it. Like I'll do a game and then I'll take like a month off and then I'll start doing a different game. So I want to do at least 7 Let's Play walkthroughs through the course of the year. So they usually take me at least 3 weeks to a month to get them all done. I try to do a couple episodes each week. So that sounds about right. So 12, or not 12, that would be ridiculous. 7 with everything else I do is pretty good. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And the side Nerd Year's resolution is a long, long time ago when I first got the Xbox One, we went to Coconuts and they had which is just like a used music video game / movie store, if you're not familiar with it. And you convinced me, because they had a sale, buy 2 used Xbox One games and get the other one free. You convinced me to buy the Tomb Raider game, and I've literally never even put it in my Xbox. So You're
going to put it in your Xbox in 2017?
Yeah. Well, no. Well, yes, I will have to do that. But I want to beat that game because there's no fucking reason to have a video game that I've never played. So that's kind of my other kind of side video game Nerd Year's resolution.
I'm surprised you're doing that, because I remember like convincing you hard to get it. and you were just like, I'm going to get it, but I'm never going to play it. I just have to get a game. And it was like a point of pride that you were not going to give this game a chance. So I'm happy that you are, and hopefully it'll lead you to play the sequel.
Yeah,
because they're fun.
We'll see. I mean, I've heard really good things about them, and obviously I value your opinion. And just, I don't know. I just don't know why I'm just not interested in those games. I was never really big into the franchise.
Yeah.
When I played it on PlayStation, so I don't know. I'm definitely looking forward to it though.
Cool. My next one is also video game related. And this is pending that the release date for this game does not get pushed back. So, Red Dead Redemption 2 is slotted for release. I believe a leaked, advertisement said like October 2nd.
Yeah.
So hopefully, they've said fall 2017. So as long as that release date sticks, I'd like to 100% that game by the end of the year, which might seem lofty in a 2-month period, but I 100% in the first game, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. I love it to death. So, that is what I'm going to be going for when that that video game comes out. It's definitely my most anticipated video game of 2017. So looking forward to it quite a bit.
Yeah. That'll probably end up being one of the 7. I don't know. Cause that's going to be a tough game to do a walkthrough of, because I feel like that would be like a 2-month process because those games are so fucking long.
You might want to like prep some good commentary for horseback riding as you go from town
for
to
sure.
town.
Well, I mean, if you know one thing about me, you know that I know a lot about horseback riding. But yeah, that's not true. I've been horseback riding one time in my entire life, and it did not go well.
That sounds like a story I want to hear someday.
No, you don't. Anyways, my last one, I lied. I don't actually have 6. I only have 5. So I'm a pretty good counter. But, my last one is actually, I'm stealing one from you. I will watch The Wire sometime this year.
Cool.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, I still, even though I took it off my resolutions at the last minute and replaced it with Black Mirror, I do still really want to watch this show. So
yeah, it embarrasses me that we have this podcast and neither one of us has watched one of the like universally best shows of all time. We've never watched it. And I mean, there's only 5 seasons and they're all on Amazon Prime. So there's literally no reason for me not to watch this show.
For sure. I agree. For both of us. Last thing I had was movie related. I watched 98 first time movies last year, and I just want to improve on that number this year. I'd be happy with 99. I'd like to shoot for 100, but I just want to do a little bit better than last year. So I keep on kind of broadening my horizon with the films I watch. So that's my last resolution.
For sure. I like that one a lot. Like, that was one that I did a couple of years ago that, like you said, you just kind of, I mean, we like the movies that we like them for a reason. So you want to keep watching them. But like, you're never going to find another movie that you really like if you don't watch other ones. So yeah, you have to watch a lot of crap, but you'll still find one that you really like. And so that's always a big one that I like to do every year, is make sure that they're first time viewings. A majority of them are first time viewings. So that's a good one.
Awesome, man. So you ready to move on to our last segment?
Yeah, for sure.
So last segment is always nerd favorite, where one of us takes a turn asking the other what their favorite blank is. It's my week. And given that I talked about La La Land at the top of the podcast, I'm going to ask what your favorite Ryan Gosling movie is. I thought this was going to be easier than it actually turned out to be. But when you go through his filmography, as universally loved as he is, he hasn't made a ton of great stuff, in my opinion. He has 42 acting credits, and a lot of those are like when he was younger or once he started kind of starring in films by himself, movies that weren't that great, like All Good Things, or, some people love Drive, but
I think it's really, really overrated.
Yeah. Only God Forgives, I heard a lot of bad stuff about. So he's not
fucking garbage.
He's not been in a lot of universally loved movies for as much as he's loved as an actor. So the 2 movies I narrowed it down to actually came out in 2016. It's either going to be The Nice Guys or La La Land. And I don't know how it's going to play out on my list whenever I finalize that for next week's podcast, but I think, it's lame of an answer it's going to be because I already talked about it this podcast. I'm going to have to say La La Land. Like, in my opinion, I do have the things I dislike about the movie, but I'll be curious to hear your take on it because I think that it's probably his best work to date. I don't know that the movie rests necessarily on his shoulders and his acting ability. It's more so music driven, and Emma Stone is amazing in it. She probably delivers a better performance than he does, in my opinion. But I know that he did learn some aspects of the piano, and when you see his piano playing in this movie, they didn't use doubles or CGI or anything. Like, that's him playing, and it's really impressive because he plays some great stuff. So I think, as boring as it is to say it, I'm going to go with La La Land.
Yeah, he's an actor that I think is kind of overrated. Like, I mean,
agree.
he's done some good stuff. I know that obviously he was nominated for Half Nelson, which I don't think he won. I think he was just nominated. He has done some stuff that I do like. I do like Blue Valentine, even though I think I might kind of put that into the category that I talked about earlier with 12 Years a Slave. With
fucking depressing.
Yeah, super, super depressing. I think Drive, like I said, is one of the more overrated movies that I've seen in a long time. Like, everyone loved that movie, and I'm just like, this is boring as shit. And I didn't think he was that great in it either. Like, I don't know. Some of his movies, he seems to kind of less is more.
Yeah.
And that works for some people, but then, I don't know, everybody's like, oh, he's so mysterious in this movie. No, he's just not doing anything. It's kind of boring. So I don't know if I necessarily always agree with that, less is more kind of thing. But,
yeah.
I thought that Only God Forgives is a garbage movie, and I fucking hated it. Oh my God. It's one of the probably, I mean, I've never made that list, but I mean, it's a movie that I would probably put up there. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Wow.
It's really, really fucking bad. And he is just a fucking weirdo in it. But, I did like The Big Short. I do like I said, I like Blue Valentine, even though I will probably never watch it again. But my choice is, Lars and the Real Girl.
Okay.
It's definitely a hipster movie, which we talked about before. I'm definitely a hipster, especially when it comes to movies. And this was kind of one of the first ones that I was just like, I try to tell everybody about. Like, when I first saw it, I was like, it's super weird, but just stay with it. It's funny, and it's like a super awkward way. And it's kind of like, almost like it reminds not necessarily of the show Louis, but that style of comedy, like that awkwardness. You're laughing at how just weird this character is, and you're definitely kind of laughing at how awkward and weird he is, but it's definitely sweet in its own way. And I really like his performance. Unfortunately, he doesn't really do that very well in his other movies. I mean, I think he just tries hard a little bit too much in some of his other movies, but I definitely enjoy Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah, that movie definitely has some merit for sure. I think if it didn't fall into the category, I won't ever watch it again because it was depressing, because it was by no means depressing. But I'm not interested in seeing it again for whatever reason. But I did enjoy it when I saw it. But before we move on to just like closing things out, whenever you were talking about Blue Valentine, that made me realize something. Michelle Williams is like the queen of being in movies that I never want to watch again.
Yeah.
Blue Valentine,
Take This
Waltz, and fucking Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah,
like, it picks some depressing shit.
Yeah, and she doesn't really do that much either. She's kind of picky with the stuff that she does.
Yeah, which is good for her. I mean, she's nominated pretty consistently.
Yeah.
But man, those movies, she's just trying to depress people or something.
For sure. All right, so that is, what episode are we on? 124?
Sure.
I mean, we took that couple of weeks, and now I'm all like jacked up with the numbers. But anyways, so that's the end of episode 124, we think. Maybe. As always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. They're both at The Nerds Podcast. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Google+. Vote for us for Podcast of the Month at podcastland.com. Comment and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Twitch channel, which Tyler does a weekly stream Monday at 9 p.m. Central. You could also subscribe, rate, review us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, basically any podcatcher you use. We're on it. That really helps us out. It kind of gets us up in the charts, and we definitely appreciate that. Email us at thenerdsyou'relooking@gmail.com. For Patrick Kuhn,
Tyler Hunt.
We are the nerds you're looking for. Take it easy, guys.
See you guys.
I fucking completely blanked on how we end each episode. We've only done that 124 times.